I've really focused on what moves the needle. I could get caught up in doing 8 things, or I can focus on 4 things and do them really well. I'm not necessarily going to do 100 things different than another agent. I'm just going to do each one of those things a little better.
It was Bruce Lee who said, I'm not afraid of the man who's thrown 1,000 different kicks one time. I'm afraid of the man who's thrown one kick 1,000 times. Same thing here, but you find that one kick or the 2 kicks or the 3 kicks that make the most sense for you and for your business. And it's okay if it's the same as the person next to you, because we're human. We're going to do it differently. I feel honored to be able to ask you some questions and get to know you even more than I already do. How long have you been in the business?
This is my 6th full-time year, and It's 8 overall.
8 overall. You know how sometimes when you meet somebody and they're the age that they are when you meet them, and then you just continue to think that they're still that age? That happens to me with years in the business, so I appreciate you clarifying that. I know you've worked a lot with downsizers, seniors, veterans. Correct me if I'm wrong on any of this.
There's typically 2, and they kind of bounce off of each other. Currently, I work a lot with downsizers, and when I say downsizers, it could be anybody in their 50s who kids have moved on out of the house, gone to college, got a job, got an apartment, or people who have lived their life in the house even after everyone's left, but now maybe want a little less house or need some help with daily living tasks, ADLs, and now they're looking to downsize their home and or move into some type of senior living type of arrangement. That's the group I tend to work with, but then I also work with the group that are buying those homes, which are mid-50s to mid-50s. They've just had some type of major career advancement. They're earning a lot more money, and now they're ready to spend more on a house. And coincidentally, it's in the neighborhoods that the people downsizing are moving from. So it's been really nice because it's kind of a marriage of those 2 groups, and I really like working with both of them.
How did that even come to be?
Most of it was thoughtful planning, I'd like to say. Another part of it might be happy coincidence or just the luck of doing the things to get that audience to listen. Doing it over and over again and getting lucky enough that some of it worked.
I remember first meeting you 4 years ago and you showing me a copy of your business plan. And I was like, yeah, you got to come to Coldwell Banker. Like, let's do this, because I was so impressed by that and the things that we could layer together. I knew it would be a win for you. You had that really solid business plan 4 years ago. We look at the last 3 years of your business and you've doubled your income. Did anything change about that plan, or is it the consistency that has gotten you to where you knew you could take yourself?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of both. It's both sticking to the plan, but also making some adjustments. I view this as I'm a business owner and I need to run it like a business. And a good business generates revenue by advertising, by marketing. And a good realtor does that for themselves to acquire clients, but then also does it for their clients. They market and advertise the home. They market and advertise their buyer to sellers. I think it involves being really thoughtful about your strategy and your marketing, your plans, because then that translates into how you serve your clients. One of the things I've done over the years to make it evolve is I've really focused on what moves the needle, because there's a lot of great ideas out there. There's a lot of different ways to market yourself, market your client's home, but you have to pick what you're good at, what works, and adjust when something new comes along that the market is demanding. At the end of the day, it's what moves the needle. I could get caught up in doing 8 things and doing them okay, or I can focus on 4 things and do them really well, even though I know the 5th one I'd be good at, but I just don't have the time for that. I think my business plan is, I'm constantly looking at it and going, what moves the needle? And what moves the needle for me, which sometimes are 2 different things. I don't have the time to add that piece because I would need to sacrifice something else. And sometimes it makes sense to do it, sometimes it doesn't.
Part of moving the needle was you moved your business to Coldwell Banker 3.5 years ago. Yep. Made you decide ultimately to come to Coldwell Banker in Exton to move that needle?
It was probably a year and a half into 2 years of being full-time. Once you're doing it full-time, you realize more what you need from your brokerage. I was happy with the people that I partnered with at the last brokerage. I thought they had great ideas. I thought they really want to do something different with their brokerage and the brand that they are with. I think unfortunately, I think the brand had a little bit of an antiquated model, which prevented them from doing those things. So I needed to really evaluate what was going to be for me. And I was evolving to a point where I was too busy to be doing a lot of the things I was doing on my own. And I needed to have some help. And I think for Coldwell Banker, it's a good marriage of two different things. A brand that is modern and has the look and feel of what people expect real estate to look like today. It has the history behind it. It is certainly forward thinking in how to attract agents, but also has the traditional pieces that you need from a brokerage. Is I need a place I can call when I need help and need help on a deal, or need insight and question, or even just to show up and lay that out on a table and talk it through with either yourself or another agent at the office, having a spot to go. I've talked to the virtual brokerages and I just don't know if that fills the gap for me that I need, even being 8 total years into the business, where sometimes I just need that person to talk to about the deal and look at the deal and even show up. Even just having where my business mainly comes from is several counties, and having the access to locations where I can hold meetings, go to settlements, and it all works well together that way. So it's been a perfect fit for me of the physical piece and the technology offered and the consistent branding that really has supported my business.
Well, I love that, of course. From day one, you fit the office immediately, just with your positivity, professionalism, and collaboration. I tell every agent in front of me that I have a very strict no jerks rule. There's a lid for every pot. That's why there are so many different types of real estate brokerages out there, as well as real estate professionals.
Yeah.
You are the epitome of what a real estate professional should be, with how you are treating your business. Intentional. Are you sitting up taller because I said that?
Yes.
No.
Let me get that chest down a little bit.
That's right.
Shoulders
There
back.
we go. So our theme this year is VIP, and not just very important person, which is how we treat our clients, but very intentional pipeline. That is what you do. That's what you've always done. And now you're moving towards luxury, right? You are a certified residential luxury specialist. What makes you distinctly different in being able to help luxury clients now as part of your clientele?
I think my background helps with that, having spent 20 plus years in personal finance, financial advising, and financial wellness, and even business banking. I think a lot of people in the luxury world either run or own small businesses or even large businesses. I dealt a lot with C-suite when I was in the business world as an account executive and with financial institutions. I think that background has helped because I can provide some insight and can bring in the financial piece, which is important. When the dollar amounts start getting higher, the mistakes get costlier from a dollar standpoint. And there's other complications that come into the transaction that need to be accounted for when you start talking about large capital gains. And I'm not an accountant, but those components need to be thought of, and I need to be able to point clients in the right direction for the advice there. So I think that helps, and the type of marketing I'm doing for those clients is needed especially at that price point. We've been in a seller's market for a long time, but as that price point increases, the buyer pool decreases, and you need to be more thoughtful and strategic about the way you market a property, because it could be the difference between a house selling quickly and at a great price or sitting and wallowing and now you're chasing the market down. One of the distinguishing factors for me is I like to promise my clients 100,000 views of their home online before their house even goes active on the market. And that's through my marketing efforts, through video, photo, strategic planning, retargeting of ads, running ads through, oh, my dog's barking. I don't know if you hear that. I was waiting for that to happen. But
say hi, Sam.
Yeah. So I think offering those strategies and having the results to back it up and showing I'm going to use the same strategies that a company who is trying to market and sell a product professionally would do. This is what they see when well-established companies market their products. I want to do the same for their home.
You're moving the needle for them. That's what the seller ultimately wants, and that's what you're giving them.
Exactly.
We're going to go back to you talking about being intentional, moving the needle, doubling your income by being intentional and strategic. Let's go back 3-4 years ago. When did you start seeing changes, or When did you start feeling changes in yourself? Maybe it was a mindset, maybe it was knowing that you had the best marketing plan, whether it was helping somebody find that first home or selling something luxury. When did you start feeling changes?
Well, so I think it was once I like to think of myself as very strategic in the way I do things. The benefit to that is that I create some well thought out plans. The downside to that is I create well thought out plans over and over and over and over again. And at some point, you need to not just execute them, but stick to them and give them the time they need. I said, okay, this is what I'm going to make work for me, and was consistent with it and kept at it. I started seeing the results from that because I think that my clients experienced it. And then they were able to share what they experienced, and then with their friends, family, and then their friends and family experienced that as well, or even their clients, if it was a professional referral source. Then there was an expectation of, this is what Mike brings to the table. You should work with him. And then when I was able to deliver something very similar to the next person, I think people even trusted it more. Not that they didn't trust me before, but when the next person gets the experience they got, it makes them more confident to recommend me again. That helped generate more business. It also helped me make that process more efficient. Okay, this is working. This is what I do. Some of this becomes easier to do because you've done it over and over again. And you can do it faster, better, smarter. And it allowed me to free up time to improve other parts of the process. That moment happened 2-3 years ago. I mean, it's gradually happened over time, but really over the last 2 to 3 years, I've really been able to make that happen. And I'm seeing the results of it. Each year, it seems to get better just by being consistent.
You hit a Coldwell Banker International Award designation for 2025, which was just so exciting.
Now I need to go international.
Mr. 305.
Yeah.
No, wait, no. It's going to be...
You have to shave my head.
7. Don't do that. You got to pull that off. No offense. But,
and I have to pick a dog nickname like Labradoodle instead of Pitbull.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't sound as cool though.
We'll figure out what that is. I'll go chat GPT later. Speaking of AI, how have you been integrating that? And I know we could probably talk about this for hours, but what are a couple things that you're using AI for to help with those processes that you're talking about that you've been refining?
Okay, so I have been using AI, and I have a little philosophy on AI. And AI doesn't replace me in the business. I don't think it replaces even job tasks. It is now my assistant. It's the assistant that I didn't quite budget for yet as a living, breathing person. I think of, as a sci-fi geek, I think of Star Trek, The Next Generation, and I think of when they had a problem, they would ask the computer to analyze something and get back to them with a solution. And that's what I use AI for. Here's what I need to solve. Here's the parameters. Get back to me with a potential solution. Then I go and review it and see if it works for me, and then I implement it. It's taken some tasks off of my plate, but generally because of the way I use it. I think sometimes people expect a little too much from it right now, or they don't know how well it can work if you prompt it properly and have the right approach with it.
I'd have to ask this because I know both you and my husband are both Star Trek, Star Wars geeks. As you said, I didn't say that. Did you name your AI assistant? Did you name him Data? I'm just curious.
So not yet, because at one point, I was just going to call it computer because that's one of the. But Data is on the list for sure. But I'm trying to be thoughtful about my name for it. Although what's nice about AI in certain parts is you can create separate quote unquote agents, right? You can have 4 different AIs working for you. I have that, and I've started calling those little sub-agents. I've named them after, each one has the name of one of my 4 grandparents. So it's kind of fun, but also it's like I get to talk to my grandparents each day. So.
Oh, I think I might cry compared to what I was going to say, which is really lame. I named mine Al because every time I see somebody write out AI, it looks like Al. Yeah. So that's what I call it. And it told me that it's an 80s like cop vibe wearing aviators, and that's who my AI is. All right. Anyways, I love yours more though. I need to go change mine and start calling her Estelle. Okay. What would you say to an agent who has that solid business plan but feels like they're stuck just trying to get to that next level?
I would be asking, how long have they implemented their plan?
Okay.
How much of that plan benefits their client directly and distinguishes them from the marketplace? That doesn't have to be reinventing the wheel. One of the things I tell my clients is I'm not necessarily going to do 100 things different than another agent. I'm just going to do each one of those things a little better, and I'm going to maximize those things. Every agent these days is doing photography, and they might be doing video. I'm going to go get one of the best photographers, and the video is going to be the favorite part of their HGTV show, which is the reveal. So my video is going to look like that. It's going to feel like that, and people are going to want to watch it. And not only am I going to advertise your property, I'm going to retarget it. I'm going to run smart ads that are really going to get the audience. I would say that for an agent, it's figuring out what they're going to do that, once again, may not be different than what every other agent is doing, but may be executed better. And then go do that, and then add another piece, and then add another piece. But don't try to do it all at once, and don't try to do all of it. Just figure out the one or two things that'll differentiate you. Go execute them, and then see what comes from that, because you might be surprised what other idea pops out of that well-executed plan that you never even considered before.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing what comes from consistency. I've been talking about being authentic. Be authentic online, be authentic with your people. And what does that really mean? It means being consistent. If you are consistently showing up as that same person every time you're talking to somebody or you're showing up online, that's giving that authenticity out there. And back to your point of helping the downsizers, helping those get in the house, and then they tell their friends, building that referral-based business all comes from that consistency piece. It was Bruce Lee who said, I'm not afraid of the man who's thrown 1,000 different kicks one time. I'm afraid of the man who's thrown one kick 1,000 times. Same thing here. You find whatever, and that's just the martial artist in me coming out. But you find that one kick or the two kicks or the three kicks that make the most sense for you and for your business. And it's okay if it's the same as the person next to you, because we're human. We're going to do it differently.
Yeah. What that allows you to do is it allows your audience, your sphere, the people who are going to become your clients to see is who you are and decide, is this somebody that is a good fit for me? And the benefit to you on the agent side is you start working with people who appreciate what you offer and who you are. I think if you keep changing it up, or if you're trying to be all things to all people, no one connects with you at that point. Yep. So now you've caught people's interest, but you weren't able to consistently catch their interest, and now no one's connected with you at all. Doing that, sometimes I think that's scary for agents. I think they go, well, I don't want to. And I don't necessarily think it's niching down, but that authentic self, like you said, if you do that over and over again, the people who want to work with someone like you will reach out or will connect with you when you reach out to them.
You can't be everything to everybody, just like a brokerage can't be everything to every agent. That's why there are so many different business models out there. How would you describe the CBX and office culture, office vibes?
Well, I think it's one of the main reasons I came over was when I started speaking with you and even speaking with Corinne before that, and then started talking to some of the agents in the office. There's a culture of success. There's a culture of help and support in the office. There's a healthy competitive piece to the office. So it's really been collaborative. Let me think of a couple of other cliche words. But all of this stuff it's true. I really enjoy when I come to the office. There's always somebody there. There's always some type of bouncing of an idea off of each other and something we can take back to our clients and our business and implement. There's also, hey, I'm going through this with a deal. I'm going through this with a client and I don't know quite how I want to solve it. And there's experience there's insight, there's advice that's given, and I'm always finding a solution. I really think that's something that you can't get if you don't even offer a physical location. And I know that sometimes that might be what works for other agents. It doesn't necessarily fit for me at this point in my career. I don't think it ever will. There's a benefit to having the collaboration of other agents, being able to see them, being able to get in the same space as them. And our office has a lot of success in it, and at varying different levels and varying types. And when I say success, they're doing a ton of transactions a year. And there's people doing a lot of transactions a year, but also doing other things in their life at a high level. And there's other people that are doing what works for them from a number of transactions wise because they have something else going on in their life professionally or even personally to make it work for them. And it's really cool to have that in the office, and there's varying stages of careers in our office. I think it's one of the things that is hard to replicate and something that agents might not put enough weight into when they make a decision on a brokerage. I think sometimes they look at payout or cap or what are they paying to be in an office? And I think sometimes they step over dollars to pick up pennies. You have to figure out, okay, for instance, for myself, here's what's really been great is that we have a structure that implements some of where the brokerage world has been going, right? I give a certain percentage of my deal to the brokerage, there's a cap, I hit that, and then I'm keeping what I'm keeping after that. That's an expectation in the marketplace for agents these days. I think we have a great blend of that, and then also like, all right, well, could I go somewhere else and pay a few $1,000s less? Sure, there's always going to be something like that, but okay, what does that cost me? Not just what do I say, but what does that cost me? That costs me, okay, well, I do work across Montgomery County, Chester County, Delaware County. I've done deals in Delaware and even crossed the line over to Maryland because I'm so close. But I have spheres of influence, business, professional referral sources, and marketing in place in those areas. It's great that there's a physical location in each one of those areas for me to hold a settlement at, hold a meeting with my clients, to feel part of the community. And then also to meet those agents, work with those agents. Hey, I have a client down here today in Southern Chester County. I have somebody who needs up in Montgomery County who needs to get in to see a home. I can have a colleague in another office up there or our own office go and fill in that. I think it's a perfect blend of what agents expect today from a payout and cap standpoint and what has always worked in real estate brokerage, which is support, resources, and a cast of people that are helping my clients get to the finish line. There's a lot of that. And the branding, the marketing resources, all of that adds up. All those little things. And I talked a little bit earlier about just doing the things everybody else is doing, but just doing it a little bit better. I think that is something that Coldwell Banker brings to the table for me.
I mean, it's similar to the conversations you have with your clients. If you're talking to a seller, they can certainly hire somebody that's charging less. It's what type of agent do you want to be? Or maybe it's somebody that charges more. Who knows, right? Yeah. We don't set your fees. You set your fees. Are you looking to be a full service agent and have that full service support behind you to enable you to do that? I come in every day because I get to talk to agents such as yourself and continue to watch you flourish and build your version of success. Because like you said, everybody's is completely different. You might want to help 5 families a year, or you might want to help 50. And neither one of those is better than the other because everybody's version of success looks different, and that is okay. And I encourage everybody to have their own version. We don't want people to be exactly the same. All right, Mike, I'm going to ask you one more question. What are you focused on next?
Next for me, real estate wise, from the business side of it, is considering having a team and what that would look like for me. A slowly growing, thoughtful team works best for me. I've seen agents and I think there's brokerages out there that are a team focused too early. And I've seen a lot of people build these big teams and then have to scale them back. I want to figure out how a team can best serve my clients, but still get the experience that I want them to have. So that's next on the horizon for me. And I think that requires just a little more business growth before I implement that. And then also expanding a little bit into the real estate world myself with starting to get back into the investing in real estate as part of my financial plan. Those are 2 things that are next. And those all feed into just the financial freedom that I feel like I'm at my age and the work I put into it, I'm close to. That's the goal. I
can't wait to see you get there. And so bringing up something really important, such as building your team intentionally. You've been saying moving the needle strategically and with intention. And that's what I'm leaving with. I just want to give you the floor if there's anything else you'd like to say.
If I were to leave some parting words, I think it's a little bit of the same advice for everyone, which is find what works for you. And that's going to take some exploring. Identify what works, go and do it some more. And And when you make a decision, when you trust somebody or someone or someplace with helping you with your goals, make sure that they're putting some thoughtful work into that as well. So if it's, for instance, somebody looking to buy or sell a home, is the person they hired thoughtful, guide, giving them the advice they need to be successful? If it's an agent, is the brokerage or the place you're calling home giving you thoughtful advice? They're thinking about your business, they're helping you grow it. And just even as a person in general, right? Like if the people you surround yourself with are who you eventually become, or you help them become, are you thoughtful about who you want to be? Are the people around you doing the same thing? And are they consistently looking to improve? And I think if you just think about that, things in all aspects of life, you'll be better off.
I don't think I can say anything after that other than thank you so much for agreeing to have this conversation with me. And to anybody watching, if you are looking to buy or sell in Delaware County, Montgomery County, Chester County, Philadelphia County, Delaware, or Maryland, Mike's your guy. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.